us four and those four, or we can do us four and those four.
If y'all are okay with me and your team, we'll try to do an investigation and all that stuff.
Plenty of room over here, guys. Plenty of room over there.
Alright, in that case, if you have your group, you wanna come up and get a set of, instructions for the first activity. Yeah. And then you need to grab some supplies, but do not begin yet. I'm just gonna let you get supplies first. Just be aware that one of the supplies is Lugol's iodine, which technically is not supposed to be mixed with food. So be careful of the oil in your hands. Sandwiches.
Hey, go down.
Internet, you
So we're waiting to get supplies?
Oh, you
When you get supplies, but do not begin the investigation.
so hard.
Oh, here you go, you're gonna need.
I got on the guest. Password on the internet. Do what? The password for not using IC is on the Wikipedia.
My iPad might still be connected.
I'm just.
Do you have any spare handouts?
I fixed it out. There's a few right here. Collins, can you mind if
Using koozie that Victory. Looking gone. You have your koozie you have?
Yes.
He's like, yeah.
It's, and it's so a mountain science team and two teams for.
Yeah, I like it. That's why he used it, because it was the only one that was sitting out.
These are our materials.
The materials are here. Basically, I'm doing the same thing with you guys that I do with my kids. I give them the instructions and they have to get it on their own.
I don't need eyedroppers too because they're already over there. Eyedroppers for the iodine.
Yes.
So the iodine already has the droppers, so and then you're supposed to use the cornstarch. If I put it in cornstarch. Okay. So it has an extra on there, so.
It's not really the shots. In fact,
It's in the ice chest.
It's a fraction.
yeah.
I put your name on it.
It is a
Those I just happen, I happen to be nice for y'all. I put them together. Yeah. I was trying to help you save some time.
I wasn't using it. I just
I can't remember this one.
Well, I got a load here, girl. Well, you don't have to go fast. No, you go. Is this that little eyedropper to use? It's under here.
See, okay.
The iodine, that's why I asked, because there's one over there. Okay, so I didn't.
I'm gonna have to set some things up. Sorry, I was told it would be 9 people, so I only set up 4. Sorry, I didn't know there were gonna be so many people, so I didn't bring as many supplies over here.
They can work in groups of 4 though, can't they?
They are, aren't they?
Yeah. We'll be long time. I got an iodine with it. I brought it in. Is that what I needed for that? That's the drug. Okay.
Cheese me.
I know. Kids are everywhere.
Show me, I'm gonna do
Can't have anything.
Yeah, we'll probably know. That's not that big deal, honestly. I can put them in a cup, it'll be all the same. I used to, I got
The iPad right now, is this still on?
I turned it on when they started.
Okay.
I just don't think the iPad probably has too much stored on it.
So we need to meet with Lieutenant and tell him all to come off.
Every now and then, it has to be a certain, I don't know if you like a certain dress. I'm picky. Kimberly, where can Dr. West find us?
She's gonna get you a slime.
Line or just blank?
Here you go, Jen. I'll find it, I'll get it more dry.
For anybody who needs drugs or been around.
And you can just use this one.
I didn't put tag on there. I mean, that means. Yeah, I saw her in the other room. So that is on the other side. I think it's the more basement. One percent, look right there.
On Amazon Prime, they have a shop.
30 bucks. Oh, it's a 10 pack. $4.25 for one. They have what?
They have Amazon Prime.
I got lost.
Amazon Prime. You can watch Chopped. The network show, Chopped. You should watch it.
Oh, we're not starting the investigation.
80 hours straight.
Like wearing.
Yeah, he was thirsty.
If they use the word opposite.
Am I one of your kids in your class or what? I'm one of your kids in your class.
That's why I don't ever usually hand out supplies until after we go. No, not snoring, snarling. Well, welcome. This is looking at creating and implementing a problem-based or project-based learning activity. The one that we're presenting today is Could King Kong Really Exist? You want me to click? Oh, no, just hold it. That's okay. Alright, so this is what y'all are here for. Mix it up. It's all about integrating and collaborating, looking at math and science and finding ways to bring these things together. After, was it 5 years with Mix? Okay, that we've been here since 2009. It's all about communication, opening up those lines of discussions and talking to each other, figuring out, yeah, I don't like them either. Those are the Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Y'all are interested at any point, maybe after lunch. Sorry.
I won't be going anywhere near that.
Yeah, I don't really hear them too much either. But it's just interesting thinking about, because we've worked together, we worked 6th grade level together, 7th grade level together, through the Mix It Up program, through the STEM program. And a lot of times it's just like, you know, either we'll see something on my board and it's like, well, what are y'all doing? Or I'll ask her, hey, what are you guys doing in math? And it's just getting those lines of communication open, where one of the things that we looked at were cells, and this was something that Dr. West was talking about in the room next door, those of you that were in there. And so I was showing her how to use the microscope and like how to look at exactly what the kids were seeing. And then we started talking about scientific notation. Thank you, scientific notation. And you know, this is just where a lot of our ideas come from. Just like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And figuring out ways that we're like, hey, well, we do this in math. Another really good example, I'm doing heredity and genetics right now. So a couple of years ago, I realized the kids were really having trouble with the idea of like predicting you know, the offspring based on the parents and the genotypes. And so I asked Zenaida, and so she was talking to me about the proper language to use with the kids, the probability that a certain event will occur. And now when I say that, the kids are like, oh yeah, it's 75%. And it's like, I don't even have to like do anything. It makes my job so much easier, and I love it. How many people know what a PBL is? Okay. How many people have heard of a PBL but they don't really know what it is? Okay. How many have never heard of PBL at all? All right, good. So I don't believe it. Yeah, problem-based or project-based learning activity, something that gets the kids working as a team, doing some sort of inquiry-based activity, you know, gets them participating in ideas that they are trying to solve something or they are trying to make something based on this idea. In fact, one of the things we usually start with beforehand is we have the kids do a team building activity, you know, getting them used to just working with a group of people towards a certain objective. And do you want to explain that, Acti?
It's called Tower Power, and basically we give them 100 index cards. And so they're given criteria constraints, a certain time limit, and they have to build the tallest tower made out of index cards. And the situation that we talk about is that they're having to design this so that it holds something. So I have like a little teddy bear or something, and so whatever team is the tallest and holds the bear, it has to hold like the artifact for 3 seconds or more. So we do that team building activity before we do all this. So they can see how important communication is, and you know, it's funny how they go through it and they fight, and you know they're not understanding each other, and somebody's trying to fold the index cards one way and somebody's trying to do other methods. But we go through all that and we talk about how important teamwork is before we do this.
And so within this activity, looking at could King Kong really exist, it brings in the functions of the cell organelles. And so this is actually a 7th grade concept, used to be a 6th grade concept a few years ago, and looking at the functions of the nucleus, the cell membrane, cell wall, and that's the unit that I have with the kids. And so this activity helps them think about and better understand those functions.
And when we do this in math, it's important that y'all understand that this is the very, very last thing we do in the geometry and measurement unit. So the kids already know about volume, about surface area, about scale factor. So yeah, I'm like, so you know, I'll help you guys, don't worry if you guys need any help. But the main focus is scaling effects on volume and surface area. That's the goal.
And usually the activity that we have the supplies, that's usually also the last thing, or one of the last things that I do. They've already been doing activities to learn the basics of the functions of all the organelles. So this isn't like the first thing and they're gonna know everything all at once. Okay. Do we want to show the video?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
We show the kids a little video of it. They love it.
Hold on. Oh, volume would help. Hold on. Technical difficulties.
And lo, the beast looked upon the face of Beauty, and Beauty stayed his hand, and from that day forward, he was as one dead.
Where's the blonde from the 70s? Right. Yes, this was the newer King Kong movie that came out.
Just say you're ready.
Oh, those. Okay, so the engaging question that we actually present to the kids, saying, there's currently a major debate in the scientific community, can giant creatures really exist? Your team must determine whether or not you believe they can, and then create a multimedia project designed to persuade others to believe the way you do. You must include oral communication in the presentation. Some ideas for your team's projects are listed below, though they are not limited. And we actually give them like ideas and things they can do, but that's more for that's the final culminating event. And then looking at, we actually have a rubric, and we talk to the kids all about each part that they need to make sure and include in their project itself.
We've done this presentation several times, and so when we go to present like for STEM, then we have to bring in a lot more technology. Right, like here today, we're gonna be focusing on the math and the science, particularly 7th grade science and 8th grade math. It's probably the most difficult 8th grade mathematics teak for the kids, period. So, you know, just.
When do you find the time, I know I'm cutting back to the technology piece, when do you find the time to go through and make the multimedia?
And see, that's where the joy of our program is. We have a technology class, and so the technology teacher, she spends a week with the kids, allowing them to make videos and posters and prezzies and things like that. Like if we were doing it in our own class, we could do it still because the kids have that technology basis, but it would definitely take more of the time. And so that is the challenge, of course. Oh, I'm sorry, that was my specific science teak, which was essentially what I had mentioned earlier. All right, so let's get into this activity. Like I said, the kids already have an idea of the functions of the cell organelles leading into this, so they actually are able to figure it out somewhat easier than some of you might be able to. So pretty much, I'm very, because I teach 7th grade, at this point, when I give them instructions, and sorry, I know some of the materials were a little confusing because I try to help you get it out, and so there were things that were already together that would normally be separate from my students. I don't really help them much. I tell them these are the instructions. If you have questions about the instructions, I'll help, but otherwise, I leave it to them. So I'm going to do kind of the same for you. So follow the instructions, and if you need help, call us. Okay, and now I was telling them, obviously with my kids, I would make them wear goggles. This would be a major requirement, especially using 99. If y'all feel to wear goggles, the kids would. I've got some that they just let me. It really doesn't matter. Like I used to actually have like teaspoons or whatever. Because in this activity, it really doesn't matter.
Very carefully stirred. Now, here, half of the starch is very routine into one plastic. What do you mean by
Liquidy as opposed to how it'll separate? Because if you don't, yeah, because it'll sink very quickly, so yeah, you kind of just spread it, and like almost as soon as you're done, pour it in. So that you get it. Oh, yes, my technical.
I'm talking about like a final like.
Oh, okay.
No, I've never done that. Not quite. Sorry. That's pretty dark.
It is.
Where's the other one?
And that is the nice thing, it's on
The other half
of
of
those
the
labs
other
where it doesn't have to be exact.
Done.
Whereas there are some labs they have.
Okay, you twist ties to close bag securely. Fill both of the other beakers with
There's exactly 3
the other half. Those are the other half. Basically, now we're gonna fill both the other beakers with 7 liters each. You did real well for every day.
You have to pour half of
Target.
one, half of the.
I saw you later and already dropped.
You're in charge.
I had a group on. Okay. Oh, okay, got it.
One, just to what?
$30 with
30 drops. Got it?
Half of it and the other one plastic.
You're halfway there, girl.
Oh, yeah.
They know that there's somewhere on one.
One in each.
More still, I know.
Two, two, and two, that's 6. Okay, done. Now we're to observe. 30 minutes. Okay, timer, it is, you got it. It is 12:38.
See, and this is when the kids would all pull out their phones. And
I think I was 45 or 50. We're not talking.
then I've got one of them, we have to put 30 drops of iodine into one.
Hey, Siniva. I forgot my ball, my beach ball. Don't worry.
It annoys my boyfriend and I, but we leave our phones in the car. We're going out to be with each other's company.
I was teasing my son and his girlfriend was like, their movies on, they're sitting on the couch, both doing this. It's still great, y'all, we spend a Friday night together, playing on your own phone.
Your phones.
Texting each other. Well, my 3-year-old
I don't know what you mean.
knows how to
Yeah, there you go.
smartphone better than I do. Yeah, I'll show you.
My niece isn't even 2 she'll go get my mom's iPad. So unlock it, put it in the. I wanted to see after 5 minutes. My great nephew.
It's not 5 minutes yet.
One, see after 1 minute. There was that kind of reaction.
Any reaction yet? No. Did it blow up? So the kids wasting around there? Yeah. We only have 2 minutes, we're only 2 minutes in. Not just in the yellow with
Are you serious? No. That's just resting on the back.
Oh, it's not in the back.
And now he's in a different class, he remembers numbers.
Yeah.
So he has to redo his father. His son memorized it all.
Did you hear about the Apple store? iPads or whatever, that you can buy stuff without the password for.
But the parents are still gonna get charged for it?
Yeah, but they were still getting charged.
Yes, but. Somewhere they have a corner where their government cards have been provided. They had a glitch and they realized he was letting them go over the limit by all kinds of things and they went crazy in the store and then finally someone caught it. You know, not like they would know your child number.
Almost. Let them make observations real quick.
So what are you cooking?
I think the point is you don't know. That's why it's a true.
How long did you have to say?
30 minutes.
Well, I have other teachers in my room.
I mean, well, if there's a chemical reaction that happens. So what are the kids doing? Yeah. Yeah. But this is just pure water, so I don't know.
Again, that's a hypothesis.
There's a lot of reactions that happen. Well, I know that. I'm just saying, I'm thinking of things, I don't know. I just feel like because there's
Alright, so.
this one and not this one's got more reactions. Maybe the iodine and reaction. It's true, that could happen too.
See, it doesn't work with my kids. The whole point. Most of them do that. Hey guys. I was just telling them, it doesn't really work with my 7th graders either. I almost never use that horn. Somebody left it in here. So some of you, I heard you asking, well, what are we supposed to be observing? Well, what do you see? Do you have any observations to really make at this time? Okay, water displacements. But did anything significant really happen? No. And I tell the kids that's okay, but that's what we're checking right now to see if there was any immediate reaction, and then we're gonna wait a period of time. This is one of those activities, because when you're in a 45-minute classroom, it's hard to do over multiple days because of supplies, because if every single class did this with every group. So this is an activity I sometimes have to do a little backwards if I don't do the pre-activity the day before. Because it does take around 20 to 30 minutes depending on the strength of the iodine, how strong to make the iodine mixture and how diluted it is. So I'll have them set it up just like you guys do, and that's when we'll go back over. I don't know if you notice at the bottom of the instruction page it talks about independent variable, dependent variable, the control, and things like that. And since CELS is kind of at the beginning of the year, this is really their first big activity that brings in some of those concepts. And so so we'll talk about it, and I'll have them use the science sources and things like that, and we'll talk about, okay, well, which one is the independent variable? Which one is our control? And so I'm not gonna really go into all that with you guys. But while we're waiting, we're actually gonna go ahead and start on the math part.
So, since we do this at the very end of our geometry and measurement unit, they've already observed what happens. So, I'm gonna get you guys started on building some models, and then you can go back to your investigation with science, and in the end, it'll all work out beautifully.
Well, and that's the best part about doing this, because essentially that's, it's like, okay, they're doing the activity and then they're bringing in the math, and then at the end, we'll be able to make observations and tie it all in and connect it.
So basically in math, we are, wrestling with this idea, could King Kong, could he exist? And if he existed, does he have like huge cells, or does he just have a lot of cells, So we start talking about, we're going to use a model, okay? And so we talk about, what I'm touching right now. If this is my model, this would be what part of the cell, so anyone? The membrane, yes. And so in math, this is our surface area, okay? So then the contents of the cell would be the air in your ball. Right, cytoplasm, somebody said it.
Oh, sorry, I was waiting for y'all.
Well, no, I'm just, we talk about, we talk about what volume represents and what surface area represents, and we relate it back to cells, and the cell membrane and the cytoplasm, and, I call it the guts, the insides, but the kids know that it's cytoplasm along.
Nucleus, mitochondria,
Yeah, so we,
like all that kind of stuff.
even though I say guts, I make sure that they use the proper vocabulary and say, cytoplasm, nucleus, whatever.
Mitochondria.
Yeah, that. So we are going to get started and build our models, okay? And so what we're gonna do, and you guys can kind of divvy up the task, we're gonna be using cubes to represent our cells, okay? So you guys will have to build a 1 by 1 by 1, 2 by 2 by 2, 3 by 3 by 3. Here, let me just give you some. 4 by 4 by 4, 5 by 5 by 5. Okay? Thank you. And so I have a ton of graph paper, okay? You guys will draw the net, okay? What is a net? Like when I go fishing?
The 3D shaped flat.
Okay, the 3D shaped flat, okay?
And I'm just gonna throw that out there, like, when I first did this activity and she was trying to explain a net, like, I finally had to be, I had no clue what you were talking about, like, what is a net? Like, in my science world, I can't remember ever using that term for something, so she had to show it.
I'm just gonna like have them come up and, okay, so like I said, it's a little bit different doing it in this, setting because I haven't taught you guys for, 6 weeks. But don't worry, you have your math counterpart and you have me and you have Jen and anybody else that wants to help. So if you're like me, it would matter that the 1 by 1 by 1 was one color and the 2 by 2 by 2 was a different color, yada, yada, yada. If it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to me. It's whatever you want. But I have a ton of graph paper. So your first task is to draw the net, build it, cut it out, build it, and your first, I guess along with your first task is to complete this table, okay? So what we're gonna be doing is calculating the surface area of each model, the volume. You're gonna be writing down the surface area to volume ratio, and then also writing down the unit rate, okay? So I'm just gonna leave this up here. Feel free to come and pick your favorite colors.
And there should be
And-
2 scissors in each supply bucket so you can like cut stuff out.
Yes.
If we need more, I have more.
Question for me?
What game do you want us to use?
This is a centimeter grid paper, so we're gonna be using centimeters.
Probably just doing it together.
And like I said, you guys are in groups, so divvy up the task. One person can make the 1 by 1 by 1, another person can make the 2 by 2 by 2.
No, because you're comparing these two, you're gonna compare the two numbers.
I'm gonna copy service.
That's just using it.
You do not, no, I just wanted to provide different colors.
Sorry.
You have to draw first.
I get cubes. Elementary teacher. Oh, so then it would be 3 over.
The ratio. Doesn't have to be a fraction.
I'm in another world here.
The rate of growth is for every 3 this grows, these grows 4. So that can be rate of 3.
It can be a fraction or a fraction.
Yeah, it can be rate of growth.
I know it's a volume. I know it's a volume ratio.
Just so I can.
Tell people the right answer, even if I don't truly. I don't know if I'll ever truly. Not tell them, you know what I mean.
A rate is a comparison of two quantities.
You write it semi-colon.
That's a ratio.
I thought a rate was a fraction.
A fraction is a part of a whole. So a rate is not necessarily a part of a whole.
To me, like, this side goes rate, this side this goes.
The only difference between a ratio and a rate is there's only one difference, is that a rate is measured by two different units. Miles, hours, okay, pounds, so you're doing, you know, how many pounds. Which are the exact same thing as ratio and rate are the exact same thing, but with a ratio, it's,
And there's a sharpener in the back if you don't need one.
You
Just need one pencil?
Yeah, I just,
It's
well,
the
I
same
think
unit of measurement.
a pencil, it's just dull.
Oh, okay, yeah, and there's a sharpener right on the wall over there.
Okay, let's start like easy, like fill in these two columns, okay?
But it is easier after you have the nuts.
Yes. So you're gonna do the nuts first, not the calculations first. That's just here to show you you're gonna make the one by one by one, yada, yada, yada. Okay. A flat pattern of a cube, okay? So a cube has 6 faces and they're all squares. And see, this is why it's a little bit more challenging because the kids and I have already talked about this. They know that a net is a flat pattern. So, and I can even build you one real quick. This is on hold. You're gonna make so this flat. So we have 6 squares. The top and the bottom, front and back, right and left. Well, this is 3 dimensions, so we have length, width, and height.
If I actually cut this out, it would be
Beautiful.
this.
Yes. Yes.
So if I was doing 2, it would be 2 to equal this, right?
Yes.
So I would be 2. This would be 3 things. I don't know, it's a size. Right?
This is a standard.
Okay, this is a 5. But I'm doing my coloring right.
Yes, you're coloring it. Like my modified.
Here, I can do it on this side, never mind.
I'm gonna have a 1 by 1 by 1 in just a second, and I'll show you.
Beautiful. Oh, I know what it looks like, I'm just.
It's spelled Christine.
That's what I said, this is the last thing we do. I mean, it's just the last thing we do. I have this too. Yeah, that's why I said, in my opinion, this 8th grade teacher here, spelling affects them on some Syrian volume. I mean,
Here's a 1 by 1 by 1. Are we supposed to do something just like that?
yes, yes, we have done everything under the sun in geometry.
Are we supposed to pull it up like that?
Yep, just like that.
Because they have to know surface area.
I think we have to have one set.
I'm just having fun doing
So I'm just telling you,
Okay, here?
Yeah, abstract looks like fills in the thing.
Are you wanting to be seven?
Don't know your sign language, y'all know why I do that.
And I also have.
You know what, I'm cutting and having a conversation.
We are talking about now.
We are talking. Yes.
I'm about seventh grade.
Pretty much this entire week before we do the. So we can go.
Pretty much, they all have.
Straight to few and far between. Go with that.
I always